Good morning. It's July 30th. It's a Friday, and that means it's walk around the lake day. It's about 70 degrees, so it's very pleasant at the moment. It's going to 30 later, so doing this one actually a little earlier maybe than some, no, 10 after 8. I guess it's about the usual time. And I've got my lapel mic working again, as I mentioned yesterday, so my sound should be good. Not quite the last day of July. I guess there's one more day. I have a nonfiction thing due today, and of course I'm still working on the Tangled Stars, making good progress on my revisions, but got a ways to go yet. I promise to have it in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The familiar path to the lake. Still can't go under the bridge though, I don't think, because of the murals they're painting under there. See how busy it is around the lake this morning. Probably pretty busy. I prefer to have it to myself, which I did in cold weather a couple of times almost, but not in nice weather. Or if I didn't have it to myself, those few of us who were there are so widely separated, it seems like you have it to yourself. All right, Roger. Still some smoke in the air, I can tell by the color of the light. Hasn't been too heavy the last few days, though. It's this nice garden down at this end of the boulevard. I saw people out here tending it the other day. Now I have to decide if I'm going to walk clockwise or counterclockwise. Last 2 times I've done counterclockwise. And I think I'll do it again today just because I walked so much clockwise when that was the only way you were supposed to walk. Excuse me. Useless though I thought that restriction was, as I've made clear many times. Oh, is it open? I don't know if it's really open, or if somebody just took down the... Let's check it out. See how the murals are coming along here. Well, I like that one. Oh, pretty cool. Technically, I think it's still closed off, but somebody had opened it up. It's really only when there are people down there working, I think it matters too much. Although I suppose the paint could be wet. Let's go counterclockwise again. There we go, there's the lake. You can see there's a bit of haze in the air. So it's not a clear morning, and that's smoke, I assume. There are always geese. There's a pelican back there. See if there's any to be seen on the other side of the bridge here. I don't see any this morning. Oh, yeah, there's one. There's always some on those rocks over there. Very bright this morning. It's a bit of haze in the air. Somehow makes it brighter. The geese fattening themselves up before they head off on their migration later in the fall. Honk. 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 There's some boats out this morning. Should see more of those as we get around the lake. Canoe or kayak out there. We'll go up through the garden again because it's scenic. Flowers are looking really nice now. Walter Scott with his blueprints of the building. And of course, you want to get right in front. That's what it looks like. can smell them too. And of course, Queen Elizabeth on her horse. Statue dedicated by the Queen herself, and me and Alice were right over there. Alice was not quite 3 and gave her flowers. The Queen, that is. There's the legislative building. Always looks nice this time of the morning because of the light being on this side of the building. Well, it looks nice later in the day too, but I like the morning light on it. I don't know if they ever use this door. It's there. The steps are there. I don't know if anybody ever goes in and out of it. All the Tyndall stone, full of fossils. And this takes us to the Trafalgar Fountain. Which once stood in Trafalgar Square in London. And a scenic electric truck thing, which did not come from Trafalgar Square Fountain. Trafalgar in London, Trafalgar Square and Fountain. Trafalgar Square in London. London, England. You know, just in case there's any doubt about that. So they did think about the sight lines. So you have this fountain, and you can see the fountain on the other side as well, and the fountain over on the north side of the lake lines up perfectly with the Queen's statue if you're standing on the steps of the legislature and looking downtown. This fountain is decorative. The other one is for aeration purposes, but is also decorative, as fountains tend to be. And of course, once you get around to this side, and it lines up perfectly with the west end of the legislative building there. East end, east, west. Boy, I have trouble with those directions. If I have to guess, and I haven't thought about it, I almost always get them backwards, and I don't know why that is. All the boats out there. Probably the rowing club practicing. And there's also a, whatever you call it, follow boat, control boat, some sort over there. And they're being yelled at, so maybe it's a race or a practice race. There are boys out in the water to mark lanes for that sort of thing. Spruce Island over there. Let's go look at the memorial over here. I usually just walk by it, so. It's a rather poignant memorial to Stalin's starving of Ukrainians. There's the description there. Millions of victims of the enforced starvation by Stalin's communist regime during the Holodomor famine genocide in Ukraine, 1932 to 1933. We have a lot of Ukrainians in Saskatchewan. Good reminder what communism really means. People tend to get warm, fuzzy feelings about the collapse of the Soviet Union and wear hammers and sickles as decoration. It's like wearing a swastika, but somehow they get a pass. Communists. Just realized there was a dog in that baby carriage, not a baby. Well, that's all very nice, Roger, but you tell me these things, but you realize there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. The stream is what the stream is. If you want it unbroken, you have to watch the YouTube recording later. And so far nobody has checked in on YouTube this morning. They've been sprinkling here. Does not smell particularly fresh. And it's a little slippery because of the little layer of mud on the pavement. Quite icky. Oh, there's somebody on YouTube, so at least I know it's working. It's all wet along here. It must have been sprinkling not too long ago. Watering the grass. I said hi there. Gabriel, hi. The living cost? Don't know how to say that. Way cheaper than someplace like Toronto or Vancouver. Lots of places. Oh, you know, like our house, which is a 2-story house in a nice neighborhood, I think is assessed at, I don't know, $400,000 or something less. And I don't know what typical rental is right now. A few $100s a month, I would think. depending on how nice a place you wanted to rent. Oh, good. They're sprinkling the sidewalk. It's not moving. Just have to wait my chance here. Hopefully that one doesn't come around before this one finishes moving. I have to dodge it in this direction. I think I'll just stay on the grass over here. I'm not the only one. I'll just go up here. Getting my feet a little wet, but not the end of the world. As long as I can avoid the really muddy areas like this.
I think that one's stuck too.
Yeah, it looks that way. Oh, now it's moving back this way. Maybe it's not. The dripping here is now coming from the trees, not from the sprinkler. And it's very slippery on that wet, muddy pavement. Well, that was an adventure. Transportation, we don't have a great bus system. There is a bus system. And you're probably losing me if I'm seeing an unstable internet connection. Wait a minute. I don't think I'll go out on. Well, maybe I will, so we can look at the boats. All right, I'll go out on the island. Public transit's not great. I don't use it, but I mean, for our buses, I don't know what it's like to have to get around the city. People do. I don't think it's expensive. Car insurance would be a few $100s if you have a car. Gas is fairly expensive. It's about, what, $1.30 or $1.40 a liter right now, depending on what kind of gas you get, or you get $1.50 if you get the high and stuff. If you live close to downtown, you can walk a lot of places, as I've proved. It's got to be the rowing club here, practicing. You can see the buoys in the water that mark the lanes. And for the for the Canada Summer Games, the year that the lake was deepened, this was their timing stand in here for the boating events on the lake. All right. Under the waterfall, slippery when wet. Everything around here has been slippery when wet this morning. Oh, look at the pelicans. They seem to be enjoying the water this morning, or they're looking for fish. I don't know which. It's like they like it, but they don't want to get too close. There, from this side. Regina friendly with foreign people? I think so. I am. What was the other question? Oh, the average temperature. Right around freezing over the course of the year is the average temperature. So right now it's hot. We've had a bit of a heat wave, and it's going to be 30 again today, and it was 30. It's been up to around 37 or 38 on the hottest days. At night, right now, it's going down to about 15, 16, 17. As the nights get longer, it gets colder at night. First frost probably in September. Starts frosting pretty much every night, sometime in October. First snowfall can be in September. First one that sticks is typically in November. Can be later, can be earlier. Once you get to December, it's snow on the ground to one degree or another until March at least, sometimes April, occasionally May. There'll still be snow in shadows anyway. Average temperature in January, your normal highs are about minus 12. Normal lows are probably minus 20, 25. It can be a lot colder than that. If it gets up to freezing or a bit above in January, February, it feels like spring. Just depends on the year. It's an extreme climate, in other words. It can be very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. It's really nice in the spring and fall, though, often. An autumn day in Saskatchewan's as good a day as you'll find anywhere. And it's not humid, usually. So even when it's really hot, it's usually not muggy. It can be, but we had a few muggy days. Right now we have forest fire smoke hanging around because there's fires all over Western Canada and up north, but that happens quite often. And it certainly isn't thick right now, not as thick as it has been sometimes. It's windy. We're on the prairies, so there's nothing to stop the wind. Severe thunderstorms in the summertime sometimes. Occasional tornadoes, but the land is so empty, it's rare for them to damage a town. However, Regina had the country's worst tornado disaster back in 1912, killed 20-some people. Of course, they had no warning like we'd have now. Heading to that footbridge over there. I can't read the screen at the moment because of the sun in my eyes. So give me a second. You're going to Regina soon from Brazil? Cool. My daughter danced for 13, 14 years with Class X Studios. Class X Studios is owned by Eduardo and Monica Ventura, who immigrated here from Brazil. Monica was a top-level, well, both of them were top-level professional dancers in Brazil. And as they retired from performing, the previous owner of the studio, or dance teacher, was also from Brazil, and they knew her, so they came here as teachers, didn't speak much English, and in the last 15 years they bought the studio at one point finally and took it over and continue to operate it. It's not far from our house. They're very nice people. I met Monica the first year she was here. Class X Studios did a ballet called The Female Gardée, the badly guarded daughter. And traditionally, the father, or rather I should say the mother, sorry, didn't want to get run over there. The mother in that ballet is played by a man in drag. So I played the mother. I played Monica's mother. That's when I met Monica. I had to pick her up and put her over my knee and spank her. And of course, I'm 6'2". There's a photo of it somewhere. If you went to my website, you'd be able to find it. I post it once in a while. I'm a fairly frightening looking woman. Anyway, that's how I met Monica. And Eduardo. Monica spoke English better than Eduardo at the time. So those are my Brazilian friends. Known now for almost 20 years. Go to look up Class Act Studios in Regina. I don't remember exact website, classactstudios.ca maybe, or just classact.ca. You can read more about Monica and Eduardo in the studio. There's the dragon boats I mentioned before. They have dragon boat races, which are boats are sponsored by local businesses and teams, and they have races, and it's a fundraiser. Over there is the waterfall we walked under a few minutes ago. The pelicans are still there. This is the bar Willow up here. be called the Willow on Wascana. It's one way to get around. They have the best deck, as I often mention, because it has the view of the lake, the legislative building across the lake. Morning. That's Roberts Plaza over there, which I've walked by many times. More dragon boats. You can see Canada Games Wascana Lake Center, so that's when this was built. That's where the Canada Games. Oh, let's walk through the playground today. Walking on the sand makes me think of watching beach volleyball at the Olympics, and just how tiring that must be. Very different skill from regular volleyball, since when you jump, you don't get the same spring and your footing is always uncertain. So the rowing club over there, and you can also rent boats, I think. Not sure where the rowers are on the lake at the moment. I hear the boats over to my left. I hear the coach, sounds like. Can't see them behind the trees here, though. Ah, somebody said. Which is what I would say if I were on a boat. Ah! See them over here. I could hear them. Oh, they're headed the other way now. Over there. There's the aeration fountain we saw from the other side of the lake. We're at the Trafalgar Fountain. Okay. And of course, over there is the legislature. And that floating platform is for the rowers, whatever they're doing right now. Oh, there's a couple of people enjoying the water. You wouldn't want to fall in. I mean, it wouldn't kill you, but it's not the cleanest water in the world because it's completely surrounded by civilization. But and it's been hot, which contributes to things like algae bloom and weed growth and all that. One reason they deepened the lake was because it was getting so shallow that it was really choked with weeds every summer. So the deep parts now wouldn't have that weed growth problem. Certainly in the creek you still see them. Underwater weeds. Wascana Center over there. And the HMCS Queen over there. It's run like a ship. That's where the naval cadets hang out. Wascana Lake is always here. See the flags, they're on a kind of a ship-like mast. Queen building, HMCS, I think it's called HMCS Queen. Her Majesty's Canadian ship. Willow Island over here, where you can go and have picnics if you book it. Pretty overgrown at this end, but there is a more developed picnic area. That's where they send off fireworks when we have them. You can see the flags on their ship mast. You can see the landing for Willow Island and some picnic shelters through the trees.
Today I told them if you guys are up by the time I get
Sure, don't fall off the sidewalk like I did yesterday. I almost sprained my ankle. Right? I'll go up on the overlook here. I don't go up here very often. Down below here is where you would take a boat to the landing over there on Willow Island. So with Willow Island blocking the view in that direction, and the trees blocking the view in this direction, it seems like a much wilder lake than it actually is. Population is about 200,000. Well, it's generally pretty quiet. Don't know if we're officially at 200,000 or just under it. Saskatoon, which is the other major city in Saskatchewan, is a bit bigger. It's about 250 kilometers north and a little west of here. Willow Island, and again, my books, The Shards of Excalibur, the young adult fantasy series, starts right here. Lady of the Lake shows up in this patch of water right here. and tells the local girl that she now has the power of the Lady of the Lake, and she and the boy who showed up with her have to go find the scattered shards of Arthur's sword Excalibur before Merlin can. He's the bad guy. We'll take the less traveled path. He's disguised in the modern world as Rex Major, who's like a Bill Gates, Steve Jobs kind of computer guy. I will walk in Saskatoon sometime when I'm up there. I had one chance and forgot to take my gimbal with me, but maybe next time we're up there. I won't take the shortcut this time because I took it last time. We'll follow the path around. Follow the gray asphalt path. Follow the gray asphalt path. Follow, 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 follow the gray asphalt path. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it as Yellow Brick Road. College building over there, which I walked by earlier this week, actually, on the other side. Morning.
Morning.
Over there, through the trees, you can see where they're building the new swimming pool to replace the old swimming pool. This one will be much nicer and have water slide and all that kind of stuff. Right over there. And now we're curving back toward the lake. Somebody has been putting these positive messages in chalk on the walkway. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing the best you can. You got this. I don't know how many of those I've seen. I haven't stopped to read them all, but I've seen several of them. I don't know who's doing it or how long ago it was done. Since it hasn't rained, it could have been quite a while ago. It's been a few days since we had any rain. All right. Oh, we've caught up to the boats, or they've caught up to us. I make sure I don't walk into the water while I'm panning with the boats here. You can see the ledge up there. So there's could be my thumbnail. That's kind of a cool picture.
Sorry.
Now we're coming back by the other fountain, aeration fountain. Keeps oxygen in the water for the fish. You can see weeds just under the surface close to shore here, so they're certainly growing. If you look down, you'll see them just below the water. Weeds or algae? Can't quite be sure. Or both. It's another one. Always be kinder than you feel, it says. I don't know, I usually feel reasonably kind, depending on how annoying other people are being. Not my fault if other people are annoying. It's their fault for being annoying. Gazebo, which I've performed in. I was at a wedding once. Getting close to home. We'll be over to the other side of the bridge momentarily, and then it's a short jaunt home. The smell from the fountain is not particularly appetizing, another sign of summer.
And then you go into a bar and order a
The lake's kind of a warm stew, so it's growing lots of algae and things like that. And there's the Albert Street Bridge all lit up in front of us. We'll go up this way today and go through Speaker's Corner and catch the crosswalk. Speaker's Corner. With the lanterns that once stood in Hyde Park in London. Wait for the light to change. South on the Albert Street Bridge. The flags are all just Canadian flags right now. They change depending on what's going on. And that way takes you downtown. Albert Street takes you right through Regina from north to south. I'm waiting for that to change. Which can always take a while, this corner. Although, with a big enough gap, I don't feel like I have to wait. Never did change. A couple of blocks and this is over. As always, that's where Wally Knight lives in the Shards of Excalibur series. Angus Boulevard. There's that nice garden I was pointing out. Go through the alley, not the galley. See berries showing up on the plants here. Not edible berries. Some are that color, some are much brighter red. We're actually getting a few tomatoes off of our 2 tomato plants in the backyard. Ripe ones, I mean. Last year we put it in much too late and we didn't get any ripe ones before frost came, but this year we're actually getting some ripe ones. We just have what's called a veggie truck, which is like an elevated gardening box. Almost home. And that's that. So thanks for walking with me. If you walked live or if you're watching the replay. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.